Hi, I'm Dan Norman. Just thought I'd share a few things with you about tomorrow's episode 6 of the St. John Passion from Isolation, which will be going out as a YouTube premiere at 3 o'clock tomorrow, Sunday. This week is National Deaf Awareness Week, so I'm really delighted to welcome to the fold the wonderful talents of Paul Whitaker, who's going to be signing the texts, the translations of the texts of the chorales from now on, and you'll see him first for Chorale 22, and in fact in the introduction to the episode tomorrow. We're also hopefully making plans for him to produce a complete signed version of the whole piece at the end of this, when we put the whole thing together into a complete film. So that's something else to look forward to. We've also passed the incredible milestone this week of £15,000 raised for Help Musicians UK. So thank you so much for all your donations. People have been incredibly generous. It's so kind of you. If you haven't donated yet and you want to, there's a link to that Just Giving page in the description to this video. Been so amazed by the response that we've had, and we're very, very grateful for your generosity. We've got a great episode for you tomorrow. We welcome the Washington Bach Consort. We'll see the Gesualdo 6 again in the final chorale of the episode tomorrow. We've got an amazing performance of Eilt by Matthew Brook, and some virtuoso stuff coming from the singers and players of Oxford Bach Soloists in that as well. And we see the parting shot of Chris Purvis as Pontius Pilate, a character who I always think comes across quite well in this piece. Pontius Pilate, that is, not Chris, although Chris, of course, always shines. And the episode begins with another chance to hear chorale number 22 with the King Singers and the 16. And it's a wonderful chorale, that, and I always think it's a really special moment in the piece. There's something very clever that Bach does at this point in the piece. He mirrors the choruses at that point. So the choruses either side of the chorale spread out in mirror image. So immediately before the chorale, 21F in the Bärenreiter scheme of things is Wir haben ein Gesetz, and immediately after 22 you have the chorus Lässet du diesen los, 23B, and this is the same music with a different text. And then outside that again you have the two Kreuziger choruses, which I suspect is what gave Bach the idea to do it this way. So immediately before 22 you have the 21D, Kreuziger, 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 and afterwards you have 23D, Kreuziger, Kreuziger. And again, going further out again, 21B, I think it is, Sei gegrüßet, and 25B, which is Schreibe nicht, again, Schreibe nicht, sei gegrüßet, the same thing again. So it's a lovely little detail about the piece, which it's a beautiful thing. So that chorale number 22 is that moment, which is the mirror for those choruses, the kind of centerpiece of the whole piece, really. Finally, yesterday, Rachel from the Oxford Bach Soloists did an online interview with Tom Hammond-Davis, the artistic director of Oxford Bach Soloists, and me, about the whole process, how this whole thing came about the process of putting it all together. And I thought I'd share a little bit of that interview with you at the end of this video. If you want to see a transcript of the whole thing, sign up to the mailing list of the Oxford Bach Soloists. There's a link in the description to this video for that, and you'll get a full transcript of that. So hopefully see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. for episode 6 of the St. John Passion from Isolation. I guess it's just the technical side of things, really. I mean,
because obviously you're singing as well. You're our evangelist for this project.
Yeah,
you're doing an amazing job as well, I'd like to.
Well, thank you very much. But bizarrely, that's my least favourite moment is having to switch from going to editing to sort of recording and performing those things. Normally, I absolutely love doing that, but it's actually really it's quite tricky switching between those different modes. But probably the hardest thing is the discovery that different people's devices record at slightly different speeds, which for a longer track causes real problems and means you have to go piecemeal through every track and make sure they line up and adjust them accordingly, which is very time consuming. And so I guess it's the detail. It's getting the details right, which takes hours and hours basically. And
that is the time consuming bit, isn't it? And then of course there's all having to remember every single submission that comes in from every single person. Which, you know, we found along the way that we've just lost a few.
Yes.
Through
Well,
no fault of anybody's.
if it weren't for Tom's organisational skills, I'd be completely lost, because it got to the stage early on where all these thousands of files were coming in, and I was just I was not able to keep control of it, and I handed lots of that over to Tom, who was superbly mentally equipped to be able to deal with it all and to come up with a good way of structuring the files to put them all together so we could find them. But inevitably, yeah, some go missing, or some get lost, or there's not permissions to download them from people, and yeah, so there's quite a lot of chasing involved. But yeah, I have to take my hat off for Tom on that one, I have to say.
Well, likewise.
Tom, what have you been finding the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge for me was trying to convey a uniform interpretation to the band. Luckily, because we've done this several times before, we could rely on historical markings in the past. So I sent...
Having watched you rehearse, Tom, you're very detailed when you rehearse with the Bach Soloists.
And on this occasion, one has to let loads of things go. And it's an exercise in trusting your experts, really. And I've really enjoyed seeing what comes to the table by just letting the thing drop and hoping for the best.